Good afternoon. Welcome to you who came here and face to face, and for those of you who are online, live streaming to join us in our master class for church pianists and organists. The first in a series, hopefully, in the coming months and years. Church. Ito po ay ginagawa natin para lalong lumago ang worship experience ng ating mga kaanib at mga sumasamba. And I know you have come from different churches, no? All of you came from outside Metro Manila. So lahat from Metro Manila. Thank you very much. So, worship is very important for the Lord. Actually, Revelation 14 is basically a call to worship. A two angels' message is basically a call to worship. And one key ingredient of worship is what? Music. Music. In tune and in words. And for us, music is all for the Lord. And we are so happy that we have a well-renowned, well-trained, resource person who will be introduced much later on by Danny Uy. But for now, feel at home and make this as an enjoyable learning experience in church music. And it is our prayer that after this, your music ministry will be elevated to the next level. Amen? Okay, may I now invite Elder Nat Palmones to give the opening prayer.
May I request everyone to stand as we seek the Lord in prayer? Shall we bow our heads? Our dear Heavenly Father, we are so blessed, we are so thankful that we have Ma'am Lerie here who will share her expertise so that we will be able to use our enhanced talents in music to be able to praise you and continue singing praises to your name until you come. Oh, Father, give us attentive ears and sharp minds as we will try to absorb the teachings that will be shown and taught us today. Be with us, Lord. This is our prayer. In Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Okay, good afternoon. My task is to introduce our resource person. He is very close to me dahil yung unang teacher ko sa Adventist University PUC dati, siya yung teacher na assigned sa akin. And she is a one of a good teacher of mine sa piano. Okay, kaya nakita niyo naman, very active ako sa church, sa music ministry. So, kasama ko rin siya sa ambassadors. We are one as a club, music club sa Muga Makay, sa Nagabian. Ano kami, we are contemporaries. Okay, and she also granted me as scholarship sa aking masteral. Okay. Okay. So, babasahin ko na lang sa inyo yung introduction para sa resource speaker natin na binigay niya. Okay. Lerie Grace Baylon Dellosa is a church musician and educator, a wife and a mother. She has been serving the church with her piano skills since her childhood, and in organ since her teens. Her church positions varied from choir accompanist, pianist, organist, and music director. Teaching is her passion. At the age of 13, she began assisting her private piano teacher, which led to her teaching applied piano throughout her college years at the Adventist University of the Philippines. Wait lang. More recently, she taught applied organ and piano and a few music coursework in both undergraduate and graduate levels in the United States. University of North Texas, Texas A&M University, and Texas Women's University. Lerie Dellosa holds Bachelor of Music degrees in Music Education from the Adventist University of the Philippines and in both piano and organ performance from the University of Santo Tomas in Manila here. She pursued her Masters of Music in both piano and organ performance at Towson University in Baltimore, Maryland, and Master of Arts in Music Theory at the University of North Texas. She received her Doctor of Music Arts in Organ Performance with related fields in sacred music and early keyboard music, also at the University of North Texas. Currently, Dr. Lerie Dellosa serves as the organist of the Kinney Worship Choir in Texas, where her physician husband, Dr. Johnson Dellosa, serves as the pianist. Their son, Kyle, recently got married and is working in Denver, Colorado as a business development representative. He plays the violin and sings baritone. Music is a joyful blessing in their family. So, she's also my organ teacher, mentor sa organ. So, let's welcome Dr. Lerie Dellosa.
Good afternoon. You can hear me, right? Very clearly. That's wonderful, and I can see all your faces. So beautiful to see all of you. And I know with your faces, you are looking forward to also lead the church through music. And I'm glad that I can share some inspiration and some expertise in some of these areas, especially leading the singing of the church through our playing of the piano and the organ. So, what I want to touch first is what are hymns? I know usually we have hymns and gospel songs that we sing in church, and that's with the congregational singing. That's what I'm looking at that we will touch today. It's the congregational singing, leading that through our playing better piano and organ. So usually we refer to that accompany the hymns. But for me as an organist especially, we don't always have the chorister. So as a pianist or as an organist, we lead the singing. We're not accompanying. So bear that in mind. Although if there is a chorister, you follow the chorister. But if the chorister doesn't know much of the singing and the leading, you have to lead out. Okay, those are principles because sometimes the chorister has less music skills than you. You got to lead out. So those are things that I want to clarify. So we are not just accompanying the singing, we're leaders. So take this as an honor, but also responsibility. So the responsibility comes to refining and getting skills to do it. Okay, with I presume with leading with a piano or organ, you will have the lessons. So you have your piano skills. I presume everybody plays here the piano. May I see hands? Who of you play the piano? I see your hands higher. Everybody? Almost everybody. Okay, who of you have played the piano for hymns or choruses at church? Hands up. I just want to see. Okay, so the others without your hands up are the future ones, right? Okay. Um, with that leading of hymns and choruses, we want to know the principles. Okay? So, presuming that you have the skills, how do we lead? How would they accompany the hymns and the songs? And what bears in mind first is introduction, because you play first, not the congregational singing first. I hope not, because there are times that they sing and then you try to get the pitch. That's not the ideal one. Okay, so when somebody leads or you know the songs, you can lead through your playing at the piano or at the organ. Then you have the introduction before everybody joins in singing. Okay, what's the role of the introduction? And then how do we play if there are verses? So that's what we will touch. Then how would we vary those verses if there are more? And how do we end? So beginning, the core, the singing, and then how do we end? Okay? Introduction. How would we do the introduction? Sometimes we do introduction as the entire hymn. Or if it's chorus, same principle. You either play it throughout. Or sometimes, depending on the function on the church, you just play a short one. And that can be the beginning and the last, or just the last line. Okay, why do we have those variations? Usually, if it's the full hymn, the advantage of that is the congregation is prepared, that they are refreshed of how the hymn goes, right? If it's a short one, especially if it's a very familiar hymn, then they would know when to enter. It's just a short one. They know it already. Okay? But how do we choose and play those introduction? We refresh the hymn. The introduction should be part of the hymn, or a portion of the hymn, or a reflection of that. So they remind what song to play. You cannot have an introduction and then sing another song, right? That would not happen. Okay, so you have the introduction. It's either portion or based on the hymn. And then with that introduction, that means you give the key. They would know where to start. They won't sing unless they are really out of tune. Okay, so you give the key. And it will be helpful to guide the first note if it's possible. Or if it's the end of the hymn, they would know how to enter. So the pitch is given. Okay, the song, the pitch. Okay, what's the next one? When you play the introduction, you set the tempo. So if your tempo is on that speed, then most likely they will have that. If you have a slight retard, but at least you set the tempo. So the pitch, the tempo, you set that. What else do we set? The mood, if it's big or if it's slow, right? So not just the tempo, but also the mood, if it's big or small. Remember that? I know I don't have a PowerPoint. I didn't prepare for a lecture, but as I was informed, it's a master class, so I was expecting you to be playing. But anyway, principles of that, introduction. Okay, with the introduction and the verses, the important thing are the cuts, the breaths. So it's not just when 1, 2, 3, 4, sing. Okay, you see the conductor has that cue. And for us, when we sing, we breathe. So when we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then other songs and hymns, they don't begin on the down, 3, 4, bump. Okay, you have the cue. You have to guide the singing. And that goes after the introduction to the beginning, and then at the end to the next verse. So if it's a 1, 2, 3, the 4 is a breath. 1, 2, 3, breathe. Pump. But sometimes, if it's a 3, 4, or the others, you don't have much. Okay, I'm expecting you know the meter. 3, 4, 4, 4, the basic meter. You designate at least one count of breath before you start. But there are times, let me get the hymnal. There are hymns that you really need, especially if it's on the fast side, the tempo. It doesn't have much of a breath. You cannot have one count breath before you start. Like, do you know glorious things if they are spoken? Perhaps instead of me singing, let me try the end before it starts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Do you have enough space to breathe? Because it's just 2 counts. You can follow me. It's on hymn 4, 2, 3. If you see the last note, it's a half note. 2 counts. And if you deduct one count for breath, then you're left with just 1 count. So, breath, that's not enough. So there are times that you have to add 1 whole measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You have, it's just like beginning to 1, 2. It's just like a beginning of a 1 measure. 1, 2, 3, rest. So you divide. So it's adding really a half measure. So if it's a 4, you can add a 2 or a 4. If it's a 3, 4, you add a whole measure. You cannot divide a 3. So let me try it from the last line, 4, 2, 3. If you're following, 4, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and okay. So those are the breath. Let me get something, choose something that has enough, a hymn that has a long note at the end. Okay, I'll have it louder next time. If it's not as fast and it's enough, I'm looking at hymn number 7, The Lord in Zion Reigneth. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. You have 3 counts, and then you have an upbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, breath. It can possibly go without an additional one, but in the hymn singing and so there are times, it depends now on congregation. If you have a congregation that has age group of younger ones, you can keep up with a good breathing. And if you have a congregation that has more than half, can I do something? Okay, may I continue? Okay, your tempo and the singing, you can adjust on the size and the age group of the congregation. Have it on a moderate tempo so everybody can sing. And one Basis for that is if you can sing with one breath for each line or a phrase. If you can sing that in one breath, now you cannot, oh, yeah, okay. But if it's too slow, you have to cut in between the phrases. That means it's way too slow. Or if you're running out of breath, it's way too fast. So it's not about speed, but it's about how you sing the lines and the words. So with the singing of that too, if you're back to the congregation, if the congregation is more on the elderly, more than half are elderly, you tend to be on the slower side. If it's more on the younger ones, you can be more on the faster side to some point. It's just a range, okay? And then if the size of the ones singing are about 50, 100, 200, you can also lead them out on a more lively one. But if you have a congregation that is like 2, 3, 4, 5,000, you tend to be more on the slower so everybody can join in singing. The same hymn. Let's try Ode to Joy or Joyful, Joyful. Go to 12. Okay, very familiar with Beethoven's Ode to Joy. Okay. Is it way too fast? Okay. You can feel it. It's just like too much coffee. Okay. Have it on the moderate one. 2, 3, and if you notice, I added within the tactus of the meter. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and bam. If you noticed what I had there, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, breath. But if you have a big congregation, like a conference, slow it down just a bit. Everybody can sing together. It's the togetherness and the message of the song that you're singing rather than the speed. Okay? So now with the tempo and the breath, we've covered that. Okay, now how do we play? I know I play different things in here. Most of the hymns, there's just a few that are having unison, but most of them are in four-part writing. Those of you who have theory, you know it's the soprano, alto, bass, tenor and bass. This one is the same. Right? All four-part. Most of the hymns are like that. Okay, if you're perhaps, what's the membership of this one? You have about 500 singing. Would you be playing all this as written? Would you play it that way and it's a very big, majestic hymn? I know most of the pianists would say, no, I don't play it that way. Why? It's not enough to support the singing. You got to support the singing. If perhaps they're singing in a cappella, then you can have it all four-part. So what do? Each of the bass line, you do it octave lower. So when you also teach hymn playing, you still have the soprano, you have the alto and bass, but the bass octave lower, pam, pam. You can follow, it's hymn number 12. Okay? So octave lower, that's for gravity and support. So your left hand needs to have that support, to have the singing. Okay, the singing pitch of our congregation is here in the middle. If you want to have them on a bigger one, and you want your playing to be heard, you got to have this higher, then play it higher. So spread, lower for more support, higher so it can be heard over the voices. So here, and I'm doing it octave as possible. And if you're singing with that, you can hear the playing above the singing of the congregation. And for those who play the organ, just a little digress with that, the organ has stops. You may say it has 8, 16, 4, and 2. For those who play the organ, you can relate. We pull the stops and it will do the octave lowering or having it higher. We're just pulling a different stop. It will do it for you. For piano, you have to do it yourself. Do the octave and you add also notes. If you know the chords, you can fill in the chords instead of that. Okay, so you fill in the chords. One thing, let's choose some that have more on longer notes and some with repeated notes. Okay, would help. Some of you may help me with the first hymn I have are the repeated notes, perhaps. More about Jesus, 2, 4, 5. What will you do when it's all repeated notes in many of the... Okay, what do you do with the repeated notes? It's the same, pam, pa, pam, 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 the same thing. Okay, you have, especially if it's on the 6/8, 3/8, 6/8, those compound meters, 9/8, 12/8. You got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. With that, tan, ta, tan, 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 you can lessen some of the repeated. You can you can lessen those so it's not so choppy. And so I'm looking at the refrain. So I'm not always okay. So you know that those are practical things. So some of you may smile. We don't do that. Yes, of course you won't do that because it's too much. Okay, so it's on your taste and discretion to have those repeated notes. So with 249, let me just reiterate that repeated notes. Yeah, too much. Okay. Unless you're already in the broader one that you, okay? Or you can just keep the rhythm with that and okay, so that's understood. The other one that I was saying was about longer notes. When help me out if you have a hymn, since I didn't prepare all that. Very long notes, half notes and whole notes. Do we have those? Let's try the prayer ones. Okay. 6, 8, 7. The Lord is in the temple. Okay, it's not as familiar. Is the 688 familiar for you? Six, 9, 3. So this is more of a prayerful one. Almighty Father. You know that one? It's okay. 1, 2. Okay. So you have half notes and dotted half note. In here, we can fill in that keep the rhythm if this is more inner notes. We can keep the tactus. I'm just repeating it, but on the softer accompaniment than the melody and the beat. And for now, we'll go to the next one, the style and the mood. This is a good segue for that. This is more like prayerful. Then you can do it more. Now we'll do more stylistic. This can go with more flowing left hand. Okay, more arpeggio and inner notes, and you have space with that dotted half note. You have space to arpeggiate. Okay, you got space when it's okay. You have space to work around with arpeggios. Let's say if you want it more like an offertory, let's say there's a call for prayer. I know they will ask, keep playing, keep playing. Okay, put it in a softer one, more like a music box or okay, what am I doing? Aside from arpeggio, you know the key. It's in G major. Okay, as long as you know the key, you know it's in G. What are your tools to add aside from chord tones? Passing note, okay? First tool of the box. It's like a hammer, a screwdriver. What are we adding? Okay, aside from chord tone, instead of a block, we arpeggiate. Okay? Next one, we add passing notes. Right? It's a little more spice, a little black pepper with that. Okay. And you can also add scale notes instead of just passing. Okay? Add your it may not be the whole scale, but if you're going to D, if you're going to C, okay? So you can add some scale notes as long as you know your key. You're not, okay, don't add too much of the non-scale. Then it can be like more on a jazzy blue scale if you're adding those. So stick to the diatonic, that means the scale tones. Okay, another thing, passing notes. Another relative of the passing notes, the embellishments, are the neighboring notes. Okay, upper neighbor, or lower neighbor. You can have inner notes, upper neighbor, and you can have that 6/4 if you know theory, or it has that plagal or like the amen. Okay, some of you can be more ambitious and know your theory, or you have a good ear. You can change harmonies. How can you change? I didn't change yet. Okay, you want to repeat and or your And another thing, instead of just always soprano on the top, let's say the alto part is sometimes interesting. I'm looking at the second line and I'll go to the alto part. People are singing the melody, you can do the alto part, but put it higher so they can hear it above their singing voice. So, singing, I'm getting the tenor part. So it's already varied playing. And you can do it if you want an offertory, play around with it. But you can plan. Okay, when you plan to do it offertory, try to do your stylistic additions or your tools 1 or 2 times and not all of it right away. So when you repeat, add arpeggio. Next is add passing. Stay. I'm staying within that one. I'm not yet expanding. Okay, the next time you repeat it, instead of that, it's already lower and expanded in range. And then octave higher if you repeat it. I know this is a prayer song, you won't repeat it many times. But if you have that in verses, and what I had with a bass, you can do it with a soprano. So expand your playing, higher, lower, add, and then when you have space, you can repeat the chords. And when you have the same chord, you have space, transfer it a different register. If you have space, octave, octave, pam, pam, but it's like a rebound. Stylistic is just like the ball. The other one is a rebound, so it will not be too noisy. Too noisy, okay? Okay? When it's just a rebound, don't do it the same power. Okay? And then, if you want it to build up for a majestic, so what did I do? I added, we call it diminution. That means I added smaller value of notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. I added rhythm. 8 notes. So those are things. So, no. I added little notes. So those are your tools. Harmonically, melodically, by rhythm, and then you can go back to. Okay, now I have to open the floor. If you have questions, if I'm missing anything with the playing, and then we'll go to another topic. Any questions? Playing, introduction, and playing the different verses, and then stylistically varying your verse, vary each one, depending on the style, if it's majestic, or if it's playful, or if it's prayerful. Any questions? Yes? What? Smooth. Mood. Okay. Mood. Okay. The mood could be, that's what I would say, it can be playful, it can be solemn, or it can be prayerful, or it can be big and majestic. Okay. Those are the mood, or you may say, the mood of the hymn. Stylistically, what would you do? If it's majestic, you will do it either like a march or majestic with big chords because it's big. Playful, you can do the Alberti bass. You know the Alberti bass? And you can also vary the touch. You can even have it offbeat. It's not off. It's not
Mike.
okay. So stylistically, you're changing it playful or prayerful. I added notes. We can play around with harmonic progression. I still don't have that song. Back to sing. Yeah, you can play around with a song. You know what the harmonic progression, the C, and then you got the 4 and the 5, the dominant, and then back to tonic. You can play around harmonically, melodically, stylistically with whatever style you have. You can add the right hand or the left hand. So when you practice or when you teach, add them one by one and then combine two. Let's say, tell your students or when you play practice, okay, I will practice left hand. And usually it's a tenth. So you complete the 3 notes of the chord, C, E, G, with G, C, G, E. Because if it's too heavy on the bottom, usually you put a part, there's space in the bottom, so it will not be bottom heavy. Too heavy. Space it out. The 5th, that's a G. The 3rd goes a tenth above. Practice that. And then you can practice. Or practice a tenth and continue. Okay, that's for the left hand. And then you can also have, remember the passing notes. You can also have the bass, walking bass, and fill in the space. Going to F, going to G, but don't do it every time. You can go up, sparingly though, so you don't always use the peppers, something like that. So do it where it's appropriate. With a tempo, you may need so you can have a walking bass. And that's what I did with Jesus. My bass, walking bass. You have a walking bass. Okay, then now you practice your right hand. How do you practice it? As is, and then you fill in. You fill in the chords to have 3 notes at least. Because if you fall on a 4th, then it's hollow. Okay? It's hollow. You got to fill in the middle. So practice just your right hand. 3rd 130 is okay, especially if it's going below the voice range. That's too hollow. So sometimes your hand already feels natural feeling it. Okay? And then what you can practice it, put it higher an octave. Practice it first octave without inner note. Okay? And you can do it by phrase. Fill in. If you want all octaves, then you can practice your right hand and focus on that. And okay, this hymn has half notes too. With that, it's a good place to add. Okay, what I'm doing is having an inner octave or different one. It's more majestic, but if it's just reiterating inside, so this is accompaniment. This is a flare at the top. Yeah, if you have a big, it's the last one. Higher or easy is just repeating it. Keep the tap. Okay? Or, but if you're more ambitious, okay, practice it. Right hand, left, and then together. Okay, I know I did already too much about stylistic with a question. Do you have another question? Playing. Should we go more on artistic on how you choose also? This can be for the choristers and even the pastors too. Do you know what the other functions of the hymn index are? Okay, I was looking at the index. We have titles, but we also have hymn tunes. You may wonder why we have all this information for the hymns. So now let me look at hymn 82. This used to be in our old church hymnal, the number 1. For the old ones, you know, it's on the hymn number 1, before Jehovah's awful throne. So if you look at the top right, it's called Duke Street. And it's in all caps. That's the hymn tune. And then beside it, it has an LM. It stands for long meter. Okay, let's try to look for the Duke Street tune. Okay, the index of tune. That will be page 816. Follow me through here. 816, you got alphabetical index of tunes. And if you look for Duke Street, you would see 2 hymns, 82 and 227. Would all of you have access to hymnal? Let's try singing. You're all so quiet, I want to hear you sing. And I'll lead you with a song, Before Jehovah's Awful Throne. Okay, I'll just start with just the last line, or sometimes it's better to start the first and the last line. It can remind the congregation, because this is very familiar. I can start with the first line and then end with the last line. So you can be reminded of. Did it remind you to sing how the beginning is to be sung and how the end to start? It helps rather than just this one. Okay? I'll do it again. I'll start with the beginning line and continue with the ending line and you sing, okay? I'll have it just a little bit Slower. Landing. Okay. Remember, and even in this hymn, you can see the other harmony 2-2-7. I want you to look at that. And when you're playing also, this can be helpful. Alternate harmony, let's say when you are playing, it has 4 verses. Why not play the other harmony in one of the verses? Let's say this 2-2-7 has more walking notes, you may say, or more on close together bass line. The basses will love this one. 2-2-7. Let's try to sing it, and I'll just start from the last line. Um, 1, 2, 3, and. If you notice, this has more of a harmony that is more exciting. It has a lot of exciting bass line. And this can be for the last verse. The same, be for Jehovah, and you can use this one. Then it's very useful. You don't even have to change the harmony yourself. It's already written out for you. But you can also be creative and do your own harmony. But this one, one of the Duke's trick, this one, I love it. When you have a different harmony available to you, the information is there, alternate harmony. So the other verse, you can choose to play the other harmony. One thing after that, knowing the hymn tune are the meter. You see, it's LM. Jesus shall reign. Let's look at the index of metrical index. And it's page 819. If you look at long meter, that will be 8888. For those of you who know poetry, you know that it's the 8 syllables. One thing you can consider though, if it's an upbeat or all of it are on the downbeat. Let's try the first one, 242. Do you know that or not? I'm not so sure if I'm familiar with it. 242. Anyone familiar with that hymn? Jesus, thou joy of loving hearts. Not so familiar, right? But the word seems beautiful. So let's say the pastor or the theme of the service, you want it more on loving hearts. And you want it more on a conclusive one, still on the majestic one. If you like the words of this 242, it's on long meter, it has LM. Jesus, thou joy of loving hearts. Last verse, oh Jesus, ever with us stayed. Make all our moments calm and bright. Okay, what you can do is, if you like this verse, look for a tune that is more familiar. Okay, Look at 242, but we will sing it with the other before Jehovah, 82. Okay? Try to sing that Jesus, thou joy of loving hearts. Are you able to sing that? The other one, the 242? Did you try it? Want to try singing it? Let's try just the first verse. Jesus, thou joy of loving hearts. Ready? Different experience. So you can do that. If you have some verses or words of the hymns that will match more of the message of the song or the theme of that service. If it has a corresponding meter on a familiar tune, you can switch that. Okay? So the hymn writer and the hymn composer, you can put that together. I think unless you have questions with the piano playing and the hymns, let me know, and then we'll go to introduction to the organ playing. Questions? Piano playing? Yeah? No more questions? Yeah. Okay.
My.
Repeat the chords. You have space. Time 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So okay.
Di ba?
I think did I understand
yeah.
it right?
Can I repeat it,
Yes.
Ma'am? There are some pianists that are just to add notes to the hymn. So what they do, for example, to God be the glory. So instead of playing it to God half note, to God be the glory. So just to add notes to make it thicker, they do to God be the glory. There are some
Yeah.
pianists that are
So they're
doing like
keeping the cactus.
Yeah.
I think I touched that. That's what I mentioned earlier. When you have to repeat it, you have space to repeat. Okay, but when you repeat it, since it's not part of the chord, rather than repeating it, the secondary repeat is the rebound. Remember I mentioned that? It's too noisy. So artistically, that is, you may say, out of art. If it's repeated and it's the same pressure, it's just like you're bouncing the ball all the time. You don't have to bounce it. Bam, 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 bam. So you feel that bam, 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 rebound, and bounce, rebound, and okay? Secondary. These are secondary, rather do it artistically. Okay? If not, it will be, it's too noisy. She plays too loud. When it can be loud, but it can be loud, but not think I've covered that. So when it's a secondary, it's a rebound. So sometimes also when those of you who are teaching also, it's wonderful to have that visual one for the ball. Bounce, rebound. So your energy is not always, you'll be so tired, and that will say, nakakapagod kumanta. Because you got all the energy in every beat. You don't have to do that. Did I answer the question? And any more questions?
During congregational singing, supposing we want to transpose to another key, what will be the clue? How should we do the clue to the next
Okay.
key?
First question, why will we transpose? Okay, some choristers, they will ask right in front, even before starting, can you play, especially early morning, can you play it on the lower key? I cannot reach the high notes. Okay, because some of our hymns are written with a high E and some are even with the F. The editors already tried to minimize all those high notes because singing range is comfortably to the high C and the D. But some of our hymns are still on the E and the F. That's uncomfortable with many of the congregation. So sometimes you have to lower it. So that's one reason why we transpose. But one of the artistically that sometimes we transpose, and it calls for it, is for the last verse. We want the last verse to be more on, it elevates it higher to a transposition. It's more like conclusion, very conclusive. So since we have it, you want it, okay, it can be just a quick transposition. So what I did was, so the pianist, if they are familiar with the key, you can do it. For G to A flat, it's easy. I have a 4-2, and then the 5 of the next. So that's an E7. I'm there, and it's more on majestic, and you can have it. So from give time, okay, give time and expand so that everybody will be prepared for the transposition. But some, if you want it, some artistically and you want a break, then you can have an interlude for transposition. Okay, you have a third, pa, pa, pam. Usually the artistically one will get motivic things, motivic figures from the either the ending or the beginning of To God. So okay, you can get or and then you get it's not so artistic, but anyway, you get the idea. Then you can have it. Get a figuration that you can repeat in sequential or something. But usually the easiest one is just a 5-4-2. You have that 1 and a 4-2, those with theory, or just a whole note down and go to the 5-7 of the next. It's an easy abrupt. Yeah? Did I answer your question when you have transposition? And it depends if you're familiar with it. And it's easy for the other keys. Let's say the E flat and the E. It's written the same thing, you just change the flats and the sharps. Or the D, if it's a D flat to the D. You have 5 flats to a 2 sharp. You just switch your mind, and if it's accidental, you adjust it accordingly. Okay? Some keys may be harder, or you may have it not a half step. So, what's common going to the D? What's the 5 of the D? Look for the 5 or the dominant of the next key that you're going. So here, the D flat is not so familiar with me. I will go to the D, from C to the D. So it depends on the skill of the pianist and if the song or the hymn calls for it. But if it's not necessary, why would you transpose? If the melody is more conclusive and you want it to be more uplifting, transpose. But if not, there's no need to transpose. Okay? Did I answer your question? Okay, should we go with the organ playing? And a lot of you, I understand, want to know at least how you play the organ. I got my organ shoes too, and those who wants to participate, if you got flat shoes or socks. Any more questions with piano playing, leading and playing? Okay, let's go to the organ. Let me get the hint. Okay, the main adjustment in playing the organ is the pedal. Very obvious for the pianist who wants to play the organ. Ayoko mag-organ, may paa, may pedal. Okay, it's the pedal. So you have a keyboard down there where your feet will play. And then the main thing with playing hymns is you still play the 4 part, but you will divide all that. The soprano and alto is still on the right. The tenor will be for your left hand, and your bass would be for your feet. So the main adjustment with coordination is with the left and the feet. The left is used all throughout your playing. It's used to the domain of the bass. And then it's trying to get the domain when the feet needs to get it. Okay, one thing that I could ask Pastor Glenn, Danny, Pastor Glenn, can I ask? I forgot my hand. See. But, let's start with one of the hymns that we have. For those of you who play the organ or want more on how I think it would be fine for you to come near here, around here, for those who play the organ or who wants more interest in playing the organ. No, it's okay. It's okay. But to be honest with you, hymn playing is not easy at the organ. It needs skills and adjustment of how you play, because when you know the pianist without any organ instruction, when a pianist plays the hymn, it will be so choppy. Let's say I will play the hymn like I play at the piano. Does it relate to somebody playing? I'm looking at We Gather Together. If I play it like a pianist with 4 part, thank you. Okay, if a pianist is playing it like how I will play the piano, it doesn't, it would be so choppy. And why would it be? Okay, I will play it like I play at the piano, but 4 part. How does it sound? Why is it so choppy, as you may say? Okay, I'll play it differently and tell me and describe, okay? Let me. I'll play it like a pianist. I'll play it like an organist. Any difference? You can tell. It's so choppy. We don't have the pedal like with the pedal at the piano, sustaining pedal to connect the notes. So at the organ, we connect the notes with our fingertips. So one of the few lessons that among the lessons that we would learn when we transfer from playing piano to the technique in playing the organ is how we connect the notes. Because once you lift it, it's disconnected. So we cannot. It's different when you play it as an organist. You connect it, and there are principles. Okay, there are about a few, 8 to 10 principles in playing the organ manuals. And a lot of that, all those technique in playing just the manuals could relate to hymn playing. So it's the totality of all those manual exercises, principles from piano playing to organ playing, and that can lead to all of it in hymn playing, not even the pedal yet. Okay, let me just say attack and release. That's the main obvious one. When you play, it's played. Once you release it, it's released. That's why you don't have a sustaining pedal like the piano that will have the sustain, and once you release it, it's not sounding when it's at the organ. The next one is legato, and you pianists would know that legato is connect. So you connect it. If you play it disconnected, it's obvious like that. So those are just principles, just the same with piano. It's just that you're aware of it. Finger independence is another thing. That's the next one. The independence is with the organ, some fingers and some notes, and that refer to the fingers that will play it. Some notes will be longer, some will be shorter. So some notes will be moving, like one of the exercises for the finger independence. I have some notes, the alto or the middle one are longer, the others are shorter. If you hear these are long notes, I'll play it a little slower. So that is an exercise for use. The fingers are more independent. Some are staying longer while the others are moving. So that's a skill that the pianists have to learn when they play the organ. So independence, right hand, left hand, you got to study it and learn it until it becomes natural for you. So finger independence may be a little different. You don't use that most in the piano playing, finger independence. Another, some to some point, you have finger crossing. So this is the fourth. Finger crossing, that means instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can have a 1, 2, 1, 2. So you have already that when you play a scale. 3, you cross over, right? But this one with a organ, you do more crossing. Why would we do that? Especially a 3, 4. Why would you do that at the organ? Okay, the exercise 4 that I have here, let's say you have a longer note on the bottom. That's why you do finger crossing. Because I have to retain the lower one. So I have to cross so I can retain the lower one. So those are skills that the organist would need to learn. Another one, I'm just having one exercise just to let you know. So if you will, some of you may be looking at lessons, and I'm willing to have some lessons for those who are willing. Then you can go through these principles. And those of you who have already had lessons with an organ, you can refresh some of your skills. The other one is substitution. Okay, why do we have substitution when you play the organ? So to free up some of the fingers. You do this on some piano playing, especially when you have soft, slow pieces. You have substitutions also at the piano, but not too much. You don't do as much as the organ. It's a very standard technique. Okay, if I go up the scale, I won't have enough fingers to go up the scale with a 1, 3, 4, 2. 1, 3, 4, 2 fingering. I will get that with a 1 and a 3. So I can. I say it's like crawling like a crab. Okay? And it can be more on musical lines or more artistic lines. A 5. If a pianist would see this passage, it will be played like that for a pianist to play that passage. But here, if all notes will be connected, you can do that by substitution to free up some fingers so all of them will be legato. Next principle, I'm going through also, this is just manuals, technique. So if you're looking at the lessons, looking forward, this is what you will encounter. It's easy with the finger glissando from a black to a white note. You just slide. And it's common in playing the organ, but sometimes you do this also the piano, but not as common. At least just being aware of it. Sometimes it's being done. And the thumb glissando is a weird thing that we play at the organ that you don't usually play on the piano. And I would say the thumb glissando, sometimes I tell it, it's like a worm. Okay, it's the thumb that is acting like 2 fingers. Okay, I will go down the scale, which is the thumb. And I use the middle part, the joint, to keep the note playing before I can get the next one. Up the scale. It's like a worm and playing around, but let's say I want it, that's how you will use it. That's why you have a thumb glissando. You don't have enough fingers to use. You do that with a thumb. And your wrist will move accordingly. We're playing. Now, this is the last of the main uh, manual technique, repeated notes. You know that when you play it, it's, it's just when you attack it. But when you repeat it, it needs to be released to be heard. Because if you don't release it, it won't be heard. So it needs a little gap between. So you need to have like little rests in between. The challenge is if it's not just the lower note that is repeated. I'm looking at one of the exercises. If you notice, all of the repeated notes is this C, but the other notes are moving. I have to release the C. Okay, so what's the use of all this? Now let's go to the hymn. Why do we have all those repeated notes, substitutions, and all that? I don't know what number is it on the hymn, but you know, oh God, our help. Okay, pianist would play it. Okay, how would we play at the organ? I'll just play the right hand. Repeated note, another repeated note for the alto, another repeated note of the alto, you got to release it. Soprano is repeated, alto, connect, breath, alto repeats, repeat, repeat, connect. So now your mind will be whirling. Which one should I release? Which one should I connect? And if you have enough fingers, you need to have substitution. So this is summation of all those technique. But if I play it, it's more flowing. And it's articulate with the repeated notes very clearly. If I don't repeat, it needs to be repeated. Okay? So it will take some time before you can have all those technique for your, even just for your manual technique. Manual, that means hands. By the way, I haven't touched much of the organ as an instrument. You got one manual. Usually you have two manuals, typically the most common. And then you got the pedal, keyboard. So we call it a manual, usually the great and the swell, first and second manual. So you got this ones. The terminology we can know and for those who will be playing the organ. Okay, with the pedal technique, it's like two fingers for the toe and the heel. And then you got another here. So we got 10 plus 4. It's like 14 that we can play with. But with the pedal, I'm using an organ shoes. The shoes would help you play and glide on the notes. So just for an idea, the bass line will be played by the feet. Let's go back to our same hymn. And I'm playing all toes. These are toes. And heel can be, okay? We can have a heel and toe. And it takes some time to know each of this one. One thing with the organists that you will notice is I would refer it to like chopsticks. When you play, you refer either to your knees or your heels, so you would know how far apart you're playing. And it's not just blinding playing like that. You cannot just play separately with the feet without any reference. So when you know that your feet are just side by side, you know it's a second interval different. With the heels together, you know when you spread it apart, it's just like two chopsticks. You know if that apart, like a V, it's a third apart. With a fourth interval, toe, heel, toe, toe, heel, toe. It's just like your five finger position placed in place with that hand position. Here it's a fourth. And then another technique that you will have with the heel and toe is when you turn. For those of you who play Hanon, you know it's. So the organist, if they don't have time at the organ, you can practice with that. If you're waiting for something, doing your phone, you can practice heel and toe with your toe. It's that reflex of the heel, toe, heel, toe, heel. This is important. And it's not just adjacent note. You can do that technique for thirds, for your chord tone. So it's far apart. So it quite some technique with that. And another technique later that you will know instead of just that is sliding. I mentioned about sliding. So from a black note to a white note. So those are technique. That's why we have special shoes that we can slide over the pedal board. I know it will take lessons to play all this, but at least you're aware that you will have more respect for organists now that you know that you have to learn all those technique on manual playing, and then you have the coordination of especially the left hand and the pedal. That it's not easy. You will have more respect for the organists at your church. It's not easy to play hymns. So give more respect and appreciation for all our organists. And I know I respect, yeah, Miss Donis is here. I know the others who play already. Those of you who play the hymns, it's not easy. Yeah, Myra, you play hymns too, right? So with all that, have respect on how you play with us, or if you're looking forward to playing the hymns as an organist, it takes some skills to do this one. And then what I mentioned before is it's not just playing also. Then it's the knowledge of this, I call it stops, or you may say the registration. It's also creatively knowing how to put this together. It's like orchestrating your hymns or your pieces. You would know would there be violins, will be trumpet to use or what, or flutes. So it's like an orchestra, one-man band. You're the organist. So at the piano, remember I was putting chords and having it octave lower, octave higher. The magic of the organ, that's the creativity of the organ is, okay, it's the piano pitch. I want this one, double it, octave higher, just one press of a button. Still another octave higher, so that will be 2 octaves higher. So that will be like this all together, but just this. Magic of the organ. And then if you want another instrument with the same, like that, it's the same. And if you want it not just higher, but go lower, I'm playing only 3 notes. That's the magic of the organ. So you got more power rather than putting everything with the full chords there and you're playing at the piano. Here I just have, and if I remove that one and just have the piano pitch, it's like playing this, 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 this. Because piano pitch, octave lower, octave higher, 2 octaves higher. Listen, octave higher, 2 octaves higher, octave lower. So this one, so for those pianists, wow, I can do that at the organ. That will be amazing. And you have other stops here. The mixtures are compound sounds. So instead of just this, you have other sounds that will come in. And if you want it more of a bite, those are the trumpet sounds. It's not as obvious, but it's there. We even have, so you may say, instead of that too, the quint. And it's creativity and artistic and historically based when you know how to do the registration. And it can be artistic too. So this can be another time of how you mix together things and have it different sounds. And when I play tomorrow, I try to get different styles and how you play. And some playing, you will just have flutes. Some will have foundations. Some will have mixtures. Some will have, you refer the trumpet sound more on reeds. Not too much of a trumpet, but it's a different sound. Perhaps it may be more obvious. Let's try the pedal. It has different sounds, especially if it's a solo. So tomorrow I chose some hymn arrangements, or transcriptions as you call it, or arrangements. Some, it's not, the pedal doesn't always have the bass part, or sometimes it has the melody. I chose some pieces that the pedal plays the melody, and one of that is Jesus Loves Me, this I know, and I have it on a 2-foot step. Oops. You can have that one. The other one that I will play tomorrow has the melody also, although this doesn't enough. I'm not having enough notes up there, so I'm having it lower here. So the bass, the pedal doesn't always play just the bass part. It can also play the melody. So it can be exciting. So I hope that will inspire some of you to study the organ. And do we have any inquiries or questions? I cannot touch much of the technique if it's just introductory, letting you know, be aware of it. Or some of you may want to try. If we have volunteers. Questions first. Do you have any questions for organ playing? Him playing at the organ? Some basic questions? brave persons to ask, or aspiring organists and organists?
Yeah, my question is, wait, ano? My question is, when do you, when do we apply the choir? Some organs have a choir, a tab which has a choir. When do we apply it?
When do we apply the choir?
Yeah.
Okay, choir meaning the choir singing, because the organ has, some organs have a choir manual. So great, swell, and choir. Are you referring to the choir manual or the choir singing? Choir of the manual, manual choir? Accompanying the choir. Okay, many anthems, and in a lot of Sunday churches, they have the organ accompanying the choir. Instead of the piano, it's the organ. And there's a skill on how to play.
Sorry, I don't do it. That's why.
We can accompany the choir.
If there is a choir, mark here, choir. Supposing this is as well, right?
Okay,
Well, the great, there is
choir.
another one.
Okay, the organ that have three manuals, usually swell, great, and choir.
Oh, the choir.
And sometimes it's not choir, but positive. Okay, so those of you who play the organ, two manuals, this is the great, but it's not small, but swell, not small. Great, swell, for two manuals. Two keyboards, two manuals. If it has three manuals, you got a swell, the great, the bottom, it's either called choir, or if it has stronger stops, it's called positive. Okay, those are the English terms too. Positive, great, and swell. Or swell, great, choir. It's a weaker one because usually it's used for the choir. That's why it's called choir. However, that's the American and German one. If it's a French organ, it will be placed differently and it's called differently. Because the French, the loudest to the softest. Softest is as well. Or what? Or later, the other ones, 4 or 5 manuals, the solo keyboard is on the top. So those are for the organist, if you are aware of it. Okay? So, did I answer your question, perhaps? Sure. Okay. I'm happy to know a volunteer is a beginner or continuing. 0. Okay, good. Okay. With pedals, let's start with just toe and toe. That will be exciting. 0. So we're starting from very beginning. So let's see how it is. But I presume you play the piano. What's your name? Elena? Len? Lena. Okay, come over here. Okay, good, you have flat shoes. Okay, we'll have just the toes. Okay, one thing of taking care of your organ, pedals. If you notice, I slide in, I slide out. I don't step on the pedal board. It will ruin the pedal. So going to the pedal, sit down and slide in. When you're done, slide out. Okay? Never stand on the pedal board. Okay? So sit down and slide in. Yes. Okay. For the university with us, for the university organs, we're fortunate and blessed that we have adjustable height of the bench. For here, if it will be an instruction organ, later on we may need blocks. I've had a lot of students that are more than 6 foot, 6'5", 6'4", 6'6". I really have risers. It needs to be, and then some are Asians. You know, Asians are on the smallest side, 5'1", 5'2". You need to raise this one. For us, we don't have a choice, but you are of good height. Okay, come here in the middle. Piano teachers and pianists, you know, you adjust your bench if it's close or too near. With the organ, you need a good balance because you're just balancing through here. You cannot rest your feet like the piano. So for you, okay, middle, try to see the middle of the C and the E with your left and right foot. So the C and the E. So move, middle. Okay, so with her height, we don't need to adjust this one because with your, okay, I have to mention body parts. With the length of your thigh, with the knees and that one, you have to have a good balance that it's less than half but not too much of your thigh length. So it's good distance. And the height, you can have your feet there without playing yet. Or are you lifting too much? You're not lifting too much. It's good, right? So good height. We don't have to adjust. So with your toes, try to have the C and the E. C. Okay. Let's put your hands on your lap so we won't cheat and put our weight here. Okay? Put it on your lap and then try to balance. Who of you still are familiar with the swing on the playground? Okay, sit down. I'll touch you with the shoulders. Swing in there. Okay. Okay, I'm not referring to the playing, but your balance. Okay, without playing yet, when you sit down, you can still move around. That means you have a good sitting position. And it's not that, or it's not, you're ready to play. And even on the piano, you can have that technique that you're ready to play, you can move around. But here, you know that you have a good balance, right? Okay, now with a steady back, play that again, but put your heels together and then play C. Okay, try to find a good balance. Okay, if you hear it, there's a gap. Have it legato. Let's try, have very, very close. C. Okay, C. The D will be very close. No, it's all toes. C, your right. Okay, left, right, left. Go to E, heels together. Go left, right. Now let's try going to B. Left will be playing C. Okay, I chose those notes because our next piece, you will have those notes. But before we do that, let's try playing more notes, go up to G. So it's like the Hanon. So your right foot will be moving. So knees together. Good. Go down to F. F. Okay, you got the feel of it. Now let's do it more of an organ technique. And I will be holding your knees and guide it. What you will do is, okay, this will be your knees. You always have the C. Okay, C, D, okay. Your knees will push your right leg, okay? So D, E, F, G. When you go down, if you see my hand, this will be the knees. This will push that as you go in. Okay, I'll demonstrate it here first. Stay there. Okay, C, D. Now I will push with my left foot so I can have a D. So this is level, this is slanted. Still level, this is slanted. Going down, this will be the slanted one. Get the idea? Okay, going there, slant, there. Okay, so you maneuver with your knees. Okay, let's try. Her turn. Knees together. Okay, C, D, very close together, side by side. Push when you play. Push. Push when you push. Let's try it one more time. So you push when you're playing. So C, D. When I play the C again, push for the E. E. When I play the C again, push for the F. Okay? C, D, push, push a little. Play the G again. G, play the G again. And then, yeah? Okay, now play it without looking down. You can play it with that technique, okay? She won't look. Let's try it. Move your, yes. Very good. Give her a good clap. Okay, I presume you play the piano. Let's try just the right hand here. Okay? Let's try that. One, slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. The top fingerings. G, F, E. Okay, let's do it up to there, okay? Let's try just the pedal. C. Right foot at the D. Without playing yet. B. D. C. Okay, if you notice, your right foot is just a D. Your left foot is going to C, B, and D. To prepare, it's one principle also with the piano. You play and prepare. So when you play the C, when I play the D, I will put my left foot on the B right away. When I play the D again, I will put my right foot on C. Try it. So up to just half of that line. C, prepare, open. Okay. Try it again. Open like a V. Okay. In. When you play the D, B, D, in. Okay. Try to connect it. If you hear it, it's not legato. Okay. So, open but heels together. In. Okay. Left foot. C, D, B, D. Yeah, your D stays there. Okay? Very good with that. Very slow. Try this. 1, 2. Okay? Put it C and D side by side, very close. D. open. Good. Okay. Try it one more time. Prepare. Always your left foot after playing the C, it opens to B, C. One more time. Without looking down. You already know it. Okay. In. Okay. Let's try it if she wants it or a melodious one. Very quiet. Try it one more time. And let's do it in a very quiet, somewhat quiet. Okay. Do it here. It's not too quiet, but let's try it. Very quiet. So it has flute sounds. Let's try it again. Let's try it with a different sound. Together. Okay, now let's try even those simple notes. She will play it majestically. The same thing, play it, but it will sound so different. Okay, it will be loud and majestic. Let's try it. Grand. It's just that. How does it sound? Nice experience? It can be very simple and cute with that 8 foot and 2 foot, and it can be big. Simple notes. It's just the coordination. So how many notes you were able to sound great. That's one thing with the organ. It's just how you put this together. Exciting? Now we got an organist coming. Promising organist here. Clap for Lena. Anyone who wants to try? So hindi to zero, ano? Hindi zero from zero? Okay. So, okay. Let's try. Okay. How do you sit down and slide in? Okay. Okay, we don't have any socks. Okay, we'll just have. I prefer not having. It's harder with barefoot though, because the flesh, barefoot, and then the wood, it will be hard. Okay, let me get something. I think I have got socks here. This is new, not brand new, but newly washed. Okay. Okay, while she's doing that, since you have had, how much have you played before? 2 months? What have you covered? Exercises? Hymnal. So hymn playing, so you've done the substitution, the repeated notes and all that. You have somewhat, especially the fourth interval is very basic because that's the tonic, dominant, and subdominant interval for the feet. But so far, let's do just a third. Let's just do the left and right foot altos. See, you don't have any stops yet. Okay. Let's warm up with just the pedal. I'll warm you up with just a pedal exercise. Try number 3. Altos, so left, right, alternate. Okay? Yeah. Number 3. C, D, yeah. Come on. You will go up the scale, okay? Left foot is just playing C. Okay, it will go down the scale. Same principle before when I said the left will be pushing and then the right will be pushing going down. Okay, you got all correct notes. Technique is not correct. Okay? Okay, move. Okay, what you will have is instead of playing blindly like that with your feet apart, you got to have your feet somewhat guided with your knees. So it's just like chopsticks. You cannot have the chopsticks without common joint. So C, D, okay. So it will be pushed by the left foot. Push. When I play the C, it will push. Push. So this is level and perpendicular. When I go to the last, the highest note, I'll maneuver. Okay? Your point of reference for the interval is your knee. The knee opening. Okay? And one thing, since it's an octave, and I mentioned to you that you're ready to play like a swing. So with that, it's either your balance, you can move forward if you need to, or you can move sideways like that and face, rather than having stiff like that. Your body cannot do it. It's like swaying at the pedal board. Your weight here, your weight there. Try to feel it. Okay, sit down, weight on the left part, right, left, part. Okay, now play any left note, lower note, go higher, left. Okay, and then try that and push any higher note, and then push here, lower note. Okay, you got the feel of a lower note and higher note? Okay, play one note lower there. Sit on the middle. Hands on your thigh. Hands, no, it's not a pedal solo. Because we will be presuming she will be playing with, so put your hands on your lap. Okay, any note, lowest note. Yeah, push up. So maneuver with this. Turn around, about face. So the principle there of moving up and down the pedal board, it's like when you have to turn like that, about face. There and there. So it depends on your distance. So you maneuver. Rather than playing like that, you cannot play that way. Okay? Maneuver, going to the left, going to the right. So that's how it is. Okay, now let's do that scale. Back to the scale. Number 3. So you push with your left, going up, You push with your right. I may guide you, okay? Left. Look here. Push. Maneuver. Turnabout. Go to the next note. Easy. Yeah, and she can play artistically without looking down. Okay, now let's go to the piece. Number 2, it's a third apart, so it's a very comfortable interval with the heels together. Try this one. Number 2, without the hands first. Just pedal, warm up with that. Okay, okay. One thing that happened to her, okay, whenever there are mistakes and mishaps, think why it happened. Okay, she was at first seated quite too forward. Try it again. She was seated like that, so it's the bench is up to here. You want to have enough leverage and you will fall off. So back. Okay, one thing with that is you're tiptoeing already. So if I have an adjustable bench, I will lower this just a little bit for you. Okay, but for you, slide out, slide out. Sometimes it will compensate. We'll move it just about a half inch forward. Okay, that's it. And hopefully you will not fall off. Okay, better? Okay, play this one. So both are moving up. Okay, and heels together. C, E. Yeah, look here, not, I don't have the notes in my face. Okay. Push. Push a little more. Push a little. Push for that G, a little too high. That's A. Okay? Try it one more time without looking. Okay, I'll let you hold on here first for now. So hold on to the bench. Okay. Maneuver. Okay. Keep it there. Okay. Resist the temptation, pam, pam, and then go back. No, you're not going back. So tam, pam. You can play that C without moving again. Okay? Try just the right hand. Yes, without the feet. Right hand only. Sight read. First finger. Okay, did you use the Davis before or no? Did you use this? Haven't used this one. Okay, slower. You put your, yes, just the right, and your feet. Feet and hands. Yeah, continues. You're doing well. Oops. You saw your right foot, boom. You can reach it though, but instead of nangangapa, pam, 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 gracefully. Try that last 3 measures. Yes. Yeah, it's more graceful rather than pam. Your right foot was trying to, where is G? Yeah. Okay? So you can do it gracefully, but you can play it nicely. Okay, very good with that. But since she's here, let's give her a good clap with that. Stay, stay, stay. Okay, one of the manual exercise, not exercise, but common manual characteristics with playing the organ, there are lines sometimes that you play with the left and the right. Perhaps you've encountered this one. Let's try if we can have just two measures. Sight read. Okay, let's try it. Hands lang, no feet. It's just hands. Slowly, one and two and three. Okay, there are no pedal here. They're all for the hands. Slower. Yes, all hands. So three voices. Soprano, bass, and the tenor and alto are just one line, but shared by the left and right hands. Look there. I don't have the piece on my face. Okay, okay, okay. There's still part of the piano technique. She's playing the notes correctly, something of that. But the thing is, connecting all those long notes. You have to connect all three lines and all those lines throughout four measures. Okay, let me play it for you slowly. So that means you got a line that are whole notes, whole notes. The middle voice are moving by eighth notes. So that's one characteristics in organ playing. You hear this? You hear it's all connected. So it's all connected. And this all connected but shared by the left and the right. So you hear it sometimes your voice line is on the left and carried over the right, or right carried by the left hand. It depends on the range. So that's one characteristic of organ playing. And then you have another voice that's a different note value. Yeah? So you hear it. I have to connect it. Connect. Connect. So you're crawling and substituting. Okay? I just tried it. Okay. Any volunteers? Hymn playing. I know some organists out there. You want me to call out names or for him? Thank you. Your name? Huh? Valen. Okay, thank you, Valen. If you want, you can keep it. Yes. Your name? Mira. Okay. Have your student? Okay. So you've taught her well. Hymn playing already? Okay. May I have you play a choice of the hymn here or there? Choose your hymn. You want one of this, or you want the hymnal is there if you want to choose. Mm-hmm. It's not roasting you, but you're helping them see what else we can explore at the organ. We gather together or the Lord in Zion? Okay. Just basic 842. Let's try it. Yeah, just on a great manual. Okay, let's stop there. I know you seem so happy. I'm glad you're happy playing for them. Okay, I get some good notes with that. You can hear the melody, you can hear it's we gather together. Yes, you try to connect all that, right? And like playing at the piano, what can we add and improve in your playing? Legato, and that are some of the organ technique. And nothing just beyond legato. Remember, the breath too, and what else? Finger position. Okay, let's try just right hand. Remember the repeated notes? Let's try the first line with the right hand. Okay, 3 corrections. Okay, if you were listening, the very first thing, okay, you got to play it together rather than, okay? Another, you got repeated notes, alto. Okay, the principle when you have exactly same is you tie the bottom, the inner notes. Now the next are legato moving notes. You can legato with that, you play it legato, but your repeated notes needs to be articulated. Okay, it's a good exercise for your repeated note. I'll play it one more time. So with this 1, 2, you need to connect it. Exactly the same, tie the alto, all repeated alto. Alto is repeated, still connect thirds, articulate. Okay, your turn. Good. Oops. Okay, articulate your alto. Okay. Now it's lift, alto, alto, lift, lift. Okay. Lift. Lift your alto, lift, alto. Together. Lift your alto. Okay. If I have to write down, I'll put slashes in between. So lift, 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 and rest and rest. Okay. So that's the hard thing with the repeated notes. It's the principle of repeated notes. We got to articulate it. One more time. Let's try it one more time. Lift your alto. Lift. That's why you lifted it, so you will be able to play it. Play together. Yes. Lift. Yes. Lift. You heard it? Let's hear it just one more time, exactly like that. Come on. So pianist, you will think, why is she having a hard time? It's so easy to play the piano. Your mind is working and trying to process which note you will lift. It's not easy. So there comes to a point that you are like training wheels on a bike, but later on it will come naturally. Yeah? Okay? Thank you for that. It's not that easy. And whatever you have, a soprano, alto, outer to inner voice, it's the same principle. Outer voice for the bass, inner voice for the tenor. It's the same principle, which one you tie and which one you articulate. Any questions or any more? Okay. One last, or do we have, are we running out? How's our time? Hmm? Beginner? Like, no background. You got sucks. Very good. Okay. Now let's try a different one. I didn't think I copied it. Okay, let's try some pedals. It is exciting that it's the new manual. Okay, let's try the pedal. We did altos going up, but with the other one, we tried this one. Okay, let's try the D, E, F. Okay, I'll push your knee. C, D, C. Okay, let's try it again. Let's perhaps I'll let you play just what you had. Push, push, push. Same C. Okay, let's try it one by one. Push to the right, maneuver there. Okay, try it. Go G, yeah. And let's try playing just three notes. Your D, your right foot will just be a D. Your left foot, C and B. Okay, now let's try your left foot. C, go to B without playing, just on top. Okay, without playing, just on top. When you lift it, put it on B. Play. When you lift it, go to C without playing. Okay, so it's on top. C, go to B. Go to C, B, and okay. So when you release it, it goes to the next note. Let's try it one more time. C. Okay. When you play it, put your heels together. When you play it, it's just the toes moving and not the whole feet. The heels are steady. Open. Good. Now insert your right foot. So C, B. Okay. Play it legato. When you play this one, that's when you move. Yes. Connected. Oh, good. Good. That's more legato. Let's try to sight read the top. Right hand only. Yeah. Just the right hand. No feet yet. Your highest note is C. 2, 3, 4 legato. Legato. The top, the top. Yung left hand yung bottom. 2. Connect your notes. Connect. Okay. Okay, let's try it one more time. Slowly. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2 counts. 2 counts high. C, B, A, G. Connect. Okay, it's very simple. Now let's try it with your feet. Slowly. Okay? 2. Connect. 2. Okay. Remind yourself, C, D. When you play the D, you open to B. Okay? Remind yourself with the B, C, yeah. So play, prepare for the next note without playing it yet. Okay? Let's try it. Okay. Slowly, so you can be aware of your left and right foot legato. Good. She completed all the entire line. Sounds nice, right? It's a little rough with some of it, but it sounds nice with a pedal. Yeah, you just have to connect it. But experience, it's coordination. Okay, she did well with that. Let's try how it will be with the left hand. Play this with the left hand with the fingering of the left. Lower one. Left hand plays. So it can be lower or it can be higher here. Okay, just the left hand. Same melody. Connect. Slowly. 2. Just up to there. Okay, just up to there. Since you've played your left and right foot on the pedal, the key there to having it smooth is you prepare your left foot goes in and out. Let's try it with the left and the pedal. Okay, listen carefully how it will be. It's more on her feeling how's the differences with left and right hand playing. Yeah. Okay, how does it feel with the left hand playing the melody? Quite confusing is her term. Okay, the left is used to the domain of the bass. So it's fighting going up or down, even though you've prepared your feet.
What I really confused because I feel like I'm gonna lead this one for the left hand. I forgot this is for the pedal.
Yeah, you already know how to play this one. And the left is used to looking at this one when you will look this one.
That's why I suddenly shifted here. I forgot
Yeah.
that it's for
So the one of the main difference and adjustment of pianists is your left is playing and looking at a different line. It's not the very bottom anymore. So your left hand will be playing a different line. The bass is for the pedal. So these are fighting. But it's like a training wheel for the bicycle. Sometime later you will overcome that, and so it's part of the training and skills that you will be an organist. Sounds nice though, different feeling, right? But it sounds good when you can coordinate things, right? Okay, so we got another future organist here. Thank you. Okay, how is it with any questions or volunteers, or we can tie up things? Or questions or aspirations? What do we have here? Okay, you want to play something? Not you, Ate Daisy. Okay, you want to play for us? Okay, anything more so we can conclude this workshop or something? Any questions? As pianist, as organist, aspiring organist, or questions for an organist or a pianist? Yes.
Is it always necessary to use the pedal?
No.
It's just additional so that it will sound good.
Okay,
You can play without it.
you will hear it tomorrow with some of the hymns. Sometimes you want the choir to just sing, or sometimes you let the choir sing a cappella, or you will just play the hymns with your hands, not with the pedal, to let your ears have a break of hearing that bass one. You can play that. So the hymns, you can play it with just this one. Okay. So sometimes you will, most often you will hear it. Then another verse, you may want to have it just a bit, not as, especially if the, so have it a break. So I'll do it tomorrow with one of the hymns or what, when you can play and have the pedal have a break in one of the verse and back to, you can have it a break with the pedal line. Any questions? Good question with that. You don't always have to have the pedal. And one thing with organ is too, and I don't know with this organ, if a cheat thing, by the way, since you asked that one, your manual here has a 16 foot, remember? Octave lower. You can cheat somehow. If you have your pedal technique, I'm not using the pedal, but it sounds like you have a pedal. What I was doing was I'm having the pedal line on my left hand with a 16 foot here. Okay? I, I can even a fancier one. But your right hand needs to complete as much as possible, include the tenor voice. Because if not, it won't be complete. just trying to move the pedals so you can hear that you can move your pedal line with your left hand. Cheat thing, but separate it. And even more, you have a 16 trumpet here, a reed. So if you have your mixtures and all that with your um, second manual and first manual, here is first and second manual. But I have to apply my organ technique. No pedal. You can play with your manual technique and then do a registration. This organ that you have, it has the capacity to have still a full sound on your swell. And your pedal can have a good 16 foot. You have two 16 foot here. The flute, 16 bodon, and then you got a trumpet. So it's loud and dominant. Sounds like you have a pedal line there, but it's just my left and right. While if you don't have, if you got heels for the ladies, or if you don't have that one, you got a good manual technique, you didn't practice your pedal line, play it with a good registration, you can play your hymns with just manuals. So good question with that too, that you can play just the manuals, but play the organ line with your pedal. Yeah, you got a gravity of the left hand. Any more questions? And if you're ambitious, you can have your hymn. You seldom do that, but okay. Any more questions, or we can try it the afternoon with whatever inspiration or what you have. Cecil, I haven't heard from you. You want to say something? Yeah. Hmm.
If you can play one piece so that they will be encouraged to come for tomorrow.
One piece.
Yes.
Okay. What?
Yeah, but you can,
Okay. You want something big, something cute, something playful for tomorrow. Okay. I'll practice while you're here. Perhaps. Okay. A lot of the I'll have the offertory for tomorrow if you want. It's like a trio sonata. Trio sonata is when you have all three lines busy. So just a portion of this one. What did I prepare for this? Get that. That's it. I try. A portion of the offertory tomorrow. Sorry, I think. Okay. It's quite playful. So your right and your left, different articulation. So after we've learned about legato playing, this is not legato playing, but you have different touch and articulation. Let me adjust the volume, the balance. Sorry, the pedal is just. Okay, never mind the balance. My left hand should have the melody, and I think I have to adjust that and add more so it will speak more. That's just part of it, but let me play one that is not similar to that. One thing, when you have a very soft portion of this one, 8A and 8. And can you 4, 8, 4? I think just the beginning. That's when you have the melody at the bottom, but let me try something wonderful and fun. And what you call gapped registration. Yes. Eight. Just the beginning. And then you want something big. Well, let me finish with a Bach piece. I won't be playing this tomorrow. It's a different. That's one of Bach's simple pieces of I Call to Thee, Jesus Christ. We have more pieces tomorrow, but I'll reserve it for tomorrow, so I will see all of you tomorrow, and it's more fun. Any questions? Any questions or what? Part of Jesus Loves Me. Portions of a little taste of some tomorrow. It's a four movement variation of Jesus Loves Me, and it's wonderful. You'll get to hear different things. I hope there's some inspiration or some nuggets of wisdom and information and principles that you've learned from him playing on the whether on the piano or the organ, or a spark of interest to learn more, and you can be leaders for the church. And I hope and pray that it will be fruitful with all the seeds planted today. And I hope there will be more inspiration when I return here. I'm looking forward to being back here. Anything more? Yeah. Huh? That will be till tomorrow. I'll reserve it for tomorrow. So I'm having just a portion of it. Hmm? Wait. Ano yan?
Thank you, ma'am. Very inspiring. We learned a lot in so short a time. Galing.
Excuse me.
Were you blessed? Were you inspired? Were you encouraged to move up in your skill levels? Thank you, Dr. Dellosa, for inspiring, encouraging our attendees this afternoon. Mga kapatid, ito ay patikim pa lang. Pero ang aking dalangin, sana may 2 o 3 sa inyo, mga kabataan, na magseryoso pa sa church music, hindi lamang sa pag-awit, kundi sa pagtugtog nitong piano and organ. So, Dr. Lerie, thank you very much. We will be distributing the... okay, Ma'am Cecil, pwede dito ka. Brother Elder Nat. Those who are from afar, kayo muna ang mabibigyan. Sir Dan Uy, please come forward. Sige. Ikaw ang taga-bigay, ako taga-announce. Ako taga-announce, ikaw taga-bigay, kayo ang taga-kamay. Kita ba tayo sa online? O kailangan kaming lumipat? Brother Ed, can we be seen at the camera or we have to move? We have to move up.
Sure.
Sila nag-breakfast. Yes. Ma'am Cecily. Ma'am Lerie, kindly join us here. Contact. Ma'am Lerie. Congratulations to all of you attended and participated in this first master's class for church organists and pianists. Manila Center is encouraged to continue this program so that we can equip more of our young people. Maraming salamat sa inyo lahat na dumalo at sa lahat ng sumuporta dito. Now we would like to call on the participants who came in here. Ako lang taga-pasa. Ikaw ang taga-bigay sa kanya. Okay. The first one is Gwyneth Alpahando. Second is Neng Orlando. Please come up here. Next is Neng Orlando. Si Gwyneth. Wala na si Neng. Gwyneth. Ah, si Neng. Wala. Si Marivic Swasa. Marivic. Wala na. Rain John Kipte. Okay. Jeneline Kipte. Wala na, umuwi na. Joyce Ann Napes. Daniel Rafil Jr. Daniel. Santine Clavite. 43 came in, 33 stayed behind. Congratulations. Melody Abuel. Nauna na. Babalik na lang daw bukas. Sabina Dianis Mosquito. For the members of our church, you will receive it later on. So unahin natin yung mga from other churches. Congratulations. Venice Joanne Salud. Next is Myra Bartolome. She will receive it tomorrow. Isel Angela Rebustes. Isel. Next is Kirsten Sarah Nicole Desiganyo. The next is Daisy Jane Budayaw. Congratulations. The next is Pat Bunag. Congratulations. Pat? Okay. The next is Juliet Alcaraz. Oh, Sister Juliet is here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting us.
Right. Welcome. Lelita Alcaraz. Lelita Alcaraz. Wala si Lelita?
Delita Alcaraz.
Okay.
Wala.
Next, Franco Mateo Beltran. Congratulations. Next, Zamir Matthew Desiganya. Ito mga bata, no? But nagising na ang kanilang interest. Congratulations.
Next yan.
Grace Falucho. Grace. Congratulations.
Last one there.
Herminia Falucho. Sister Herminia Falucho. Congratulations.
Yung iba, explain nyo ng Pastor Nan about tomorrow.
The rest will receive their certificates tomorrow or later on. Or later on after their photo session. So I think the next part, we will first close and then a photo session. You have last words for them, Dr. Dellosa?
Well, it's my honor and pleasure to be back here at Manila Center. This is close to my heart. My father was pastor here twice when I wasn't born yet and when I was in my teens, I think. So Manila Center holds dear to my heart. But with music, I know you are the future leaders in our music, and I count it a privilege that I can touch your lives and perhaps influence and touch you with some skills and inspiration that you could pursue more to be a leader in our worship music at our church, whether at my center or another church, but may all of our music be for God's glory.
Thank you very much. Palakpakan natin. Huwag po kayong magsasawa. Ito pa lang ay pasimula. Thank you, Dr. Lerie. We will be closing. We will close now. So thank you very much for coming tomorrow to really see and hear Dr. Lerie Dellosa. We invite you to our worship service tomorrow. She will be playing the organ. And in the afternoon, at probably 2 p.m., there will be a concert. Okay? So invite your friends from here and abroad to be physically present or to tune in via live stream Manila Center as Seventh-day Adventist Church in YouTube and Facebook. So that's in the afternoon. If you cannot be in the morning, you can join in the afternoon. But Melody Abuel and Sister Myra Bartolome told me a while ago they will be back in the morning. If you heard her practice a while ago this morning, it was really magnificent. When it is in full volume, the sound is so grand that as if you are pushed higher and higher to heaven. So, thank you very much for coming. We will now all stand for prayer. May I request Sister Cecil Dones, our Associate Head of Music Ministry, to give the closing prayer.
Let's bow our heads. Thank you, Father, for this wonderful opportunity that we've learned a lot about music. Thank you for the gift of music. Thank you for your love and mercy. All this we ask in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pwede lahat ng dumalo ngayon ay pumunta dito sa harap. Brother Sister Dan, ibababa na lang to. Sa paligid tayo ng piano at Sister, si Dr. Dellosa will be seated at the piano.
Hello. Pictorial muna tayo. Akyat na kayo dito para mabilis.
Ito around the piano. Ganyan, para kasi piano, piano has request. Yan, around the piano. Sa likod pala.
Yung kay Ate Rose na error yung pangalan niya. Inalkaras din yung abakan sana. Kaya pa hindi siya umakyat.
Dalawa?
Kasi hindi nakaras. Magkasunod kasi kanina sila to. Siguro kinepo, yan, instead ng abakan niya, nilagay ang bilyan. Sabi
Lulubog
siya.
Baguhin natin.
Oo.
Okay, tuloy natin ito maya-maya. Okay, gather around.
Ito na lang muna, Pastor. Hindi na umabot na maaga eh. Maaga kasi pinaprint eh.
Okay, we invite you to the mother's room, function room 1 for a merienda before you go home. Nandun lang po sa lobby, turn right. From the sanctuary, turn left. Yung may maliwanag po na kwarto, doon ang ating merienda.
Ang dami pa, Pastor nito. Pastor, ay, meron pa pala.
Pumunta ako 5:30. Pinatay na ba ni Lord ang yung aircon kasi? Kinakabahan siya baka daw gamitin pa bukas.
Dapat ko kasi Lerie sa
Dito lang naman malapit, Pastor, no?
Timog. Traffic lang ang kalatan.
Patayin ko na siguro ito, no? Wala naman.
Yes, thank you.
Ay, yung ano naman, ha? Yung kanyang worksheet. Ang ganda to. Dapat makapit pala natin.
Nagawa ng Matias.
Namin ko pala. Okay, mabuhay po tayo.
May merienda tayo dun.
Yan pa ba yung pipirmahan?
Wala naman eh. Hello, hello. Mahina eh, oh. Hello, hello. Yan, yan. Ganyan dapat. Ah.
Kaya mo yan. Kumakain pa ako eh.
Check mic test.
Alam mo, tong ano na to, di ba? Remind me again.
Remind me, dear Lord.
Sabi, ay, ako, hindi ako na certification.
Hindi ko alam sa inyo. Hindi ka naglagay ng attendance dun eh. Sino ang session nagbigay sa akin?
The things that...
Kita
Kaya
mamaya.
may mic eh.
Kailan ikaw na papirma sa kanila?
Oo, habang nandun siya dyan.
Are just borrowed, they're not mine at all. Jesus, only let me use them to brighten my life. So remind me, dear Lord. Roll back the curtains of memory now and then. Show me where you brought me from and where I could have been. Remember, I'm human and humans forget. Di ba alam mo to? Remind me, dear Lord. Hindi ko talaga kabayan. Wala. Have I done? Na 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 na.
Ikaw na sa office, ako na sa dulo.
Ano ba yan? Ikaw dapat nagyaya, ikaw dapat yung una eh. Na? Si Jay?
Hindi ko kaya ng ganyan.
Lalo po kumain ako ng matamis. Ano to mamaya? The thing that I love and hold dear to my heart are just borrowed, they're not mine at all. Ano na?
Normal boses mo.
Just only let me use them to brighten my life. So remind me, dear Lord. Roll back the curtain of memory now and then. Show me that you brought me from and where I could have been. Remember, I'm human and humans forget. So remind me, dear Lord.
Nothing good I have done to deserve God's own Son. I'm not worthy of the scars in His hands. Yet He chose to road to Calvary to die in my stead. Why He loved me, I can't understand. Roll back the curtain of memory now and then. Show me where you brought me from and where I could have been. Remember, I'm human and humans forget. So remind me, dear Lord. Roll back.
Kasi itong... Hindi ka naman